Hey guys, it's been way too long since I've done a video on my channel. There's been, I think, a couple on Cletus's since since the last one I did, but rifle season is just about to open in North Carolina. We're actually here on the west end of the state. We've got something that we have not had in like 20 years, which is the first day. Opening day is actually a doe day this year, so it's antlered or antlerless is technically what it's called. So as of when I'm shooting this right now, obviously this will release a good ways from now, but it's about a week out and I'm doing some final prep and stuff. Normally, I know a lot of folks would have their cameras and corn and everything all set out. I've had the corn up by the stand for a while, but the camera here actually did not have any, not batteries. I had batteries, but no lithium batteries. That's one thing when you're setting out game cameras, if you don't have a solar panel or something like that, one thing to keep in mind is as we get towards the colder part of the year, you need lithium batteries because the normal alkalines, the cheap ones, basically, will go dead if you get, they're rated down to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but typically they'll go dead, in my experience, about 40. And then there's no resurrecting them. Lithiums will get you down to about 20, and then they'll still go dead. So you still got to keep that in mind. But I had to order some because Walmart, they're just so expensive. So anyhow, but in a second here, I'm going to go up. The stand I've got is on the upper end of our property. So I'll be setting this out now that I finally got the batteries for it, because it's gotten cold all of a sudden here the last week or so. And right now they're forecasting for opening day itself, we're going to be starting in the 20s. So it's going to be definitely on the colder side. All right, made it up here to the range, which the stand is off that way. We'll be up there in a second, but I realized I hadn't actually shown this yet. Obviously, election day was a few weeks ago. This ain't nothing about politics at all, but just a little slice of what we've been doing out here. And this is not an uncommon thing out here. I'm on the range, and now that election day's over and gone, you got all these signs everywhere, you know, on the highways and stuff. And here in North Carolina, you got it's about 30 days before the DOT considers them outright litter anyway. So I went ahead and set up best thing for them, 20, 30, 40 yards. And again, that's regardless of party, nothing like that. This ain't nothing about politics. Honestly, there's some folks that I've actually seen out here, some of our local races, county races and stuff, they encourage doing this when it's over with. So there you go. But like I said, just a little little slice of the way we do it. But I'll show out here as I'm walking. Hopefully I won't make you sick. But this camera I've got is actually just an offering. My brother actually got it for me for, I think it was my birthday back earlier in the year. But good little camera. Honestly, it's amazing pretty much anymore. If you don't want, you know, if you don't need a cell cam, you can get them pretty inexpensive on Amazon anymore. You know, with varying degrees of capabilities and stuff like that. But just looking around here, it's amazing. If you remember, if you look back some of the videos from earlier in the year, just how much more you can see through here with the leaves off. I mean, it's just part of the seasons and part of how it was created to be, but still just amazing how different the landscape can be. Spring to winter, you know, summer to winter when you've got leaf out. So, but anyhow, got the stand itself here. I'll show in just a second. I'm coming up on it. I've been laying the corn pretty good, which, let's see here. I would imagine, yeah, they've ate the corn pretty much completely away here the last few days, which is no surprise. My experience, you can kind of see here the ridge behind me. Over the last few weeks, the bucks seem to be making themselves scarce up here. Down where the house is, which is about 300-400 feet lower in elevation, the does have still been coming through. But now that we're getting close to the rut, typically the bucks tend to make themselves a little bit more scarce up over in the high terrain in anticipation of it. So it's always kind of interesting to see that, because we had some great looking bachelor herds, they call them, earlier on in the season that were roaming around eating, you know, right near the house, just like the does have continued to. But just observing those patterns is definitely interesting. Definitely something I'm continuing to learn about. So if you're into hunting where you're at all, some things like that will ring true, but the exact timing, things like that are going to depend on your topography, depend on when your rut starts and the midpoint of it and things like that. So it's definitely well worth doing some research on. But I'm going to go ahead and get this camera set, and then probably next time I pick up this video will be at least a few days from now as we're getting closer. Okay, well, it's after Thanksgiving now. Tomorrow is opening day. Back up here getting ready to put a little more corn out. We had quite a bit of rain the last couple days, so trying to get some fresh corn out, keep the scent fresh and everything. I've seen a few things on the game camera. I'll see if I can figure out a way to get a couple of pictures here. I'm actually going to check it here in just a minute, and try to get the gun finished, sighted in. The new scope I got, which it's actually a KG Optics scope, so thanks KG for the free scope. This was not sponsored, but it was a free thing he was running, so I managed to end up getting one anyway. But having to dial it in a lot, it was it needed some help to start with. But overall, they're calling for temps 21 Fahrenheit in the morning. So yeah, I'm gonna have like 18 layers on, at least if I can. So what's been real interesting though is the last couple days I've noticed we've had turkeys moving through, and I think it's because of this colder weather we're starting to have. They're starting to migrate down into the lower terrain, because usually through the summer we'll kind of see them, but they largely seem to keep to themselves in the higher terrain around here. So I think that's part of what we've been seeing and observing. But anyhow, everything's coming together. But it's like I said, I've seen quite a few things on the camera, so hoping to have some good success in the morning. Whoop, stepped out of the sun there, but we'll just keep plugging away, and hopefully you're going to see me actually get something before this video's out. I hiked up here to the stand itself, got the corn set, and was getting the camera dealt with. I actually had put it in video mode and was just checking, and there's some good stuff on there. So like I said, I'll see if I can maybe drop a little of that in here. It's funny though, I've thought about with the card, it's almost, you almost feel like you're doing some kind of espionage or something, you know, copy the stuff real quick and get out of here so you don't have the deer risk the scent or nothing. Obviously it's nothing like that, but just kind of fun to think about. But I'll admit I was pleasantly surprised, because we hit a low about 25 Fahrenheit this morning, and the batteries are still going strong, the lithium batteries I mentioned earlier in the video, so that's good. But I switched it back to picture mode because the videos, it's not the card space, but I'm copying them on a SD card reader to my phone. Yeah, I don't have that much storage space. So we're having to go back to picture mode. But yeah, got some good stuff here. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see what the morning brings. Lord willing, have a chance at something. But I'm gonna finish getting the gun sighted in. I don't have an extra hand, so I can't really shoot that all at the same time. But we'll get that dialed in, and then move on with the day. And then, like I said, Lord willing, come tonight we'll have, or tomorrow morning rather, we'll have a good chance of getting something. So I'll be curious to see too. Usually once rifle season starts, you can hear the echo of the shot from other folks hunting across the valley too. So I'm curious to see if I hear any of that tomorrow, anything like that, how that affects the deer moving. But as long as I douse with anti-scent, like I said, have about 18 layers on, we should be good to go. Wow, my hair is fluffy. So, let's see. I've been in the stand for about 3 hours. Obviously, I'm not in the stand now. And it's still 27 degrees. So, yeah, it's been downright frigid this morning. And Didn't really see a whole lot in the way of deer. I actually came up on one as I was coming to the stand this morning, and it was still about 10 minutes before legal shooting time. Here in North Carolina, that's 30 minutes before sunrise, actual sunrise where you are, and 30 minutes after sunset. Or the bounds of legal shooting hours. Some states vary slightly in their definitions on that. But even if I could have gotten a clear shot, I couldn't have legally shot it. So I heard, I'm presuming it was a buck over the ridge, probably about an hour in. So we're talking maybe a half hour after actual sunrise. What's weird was he definitely wasn't smelling me, because I was actually downwind of him, or whichever it was, whether it was a doe or buck. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. I've heard a couple of other hunters off in the distance, like I mentioned earlier in this video, nowhere right around me, and obviously I'm on my own land, so I'm on private property, but I don't know if maybe picked up the scent of something or what was going on there. Saw what seemed like about 4,000 squirrels. If I'd been hunting squirrel, I easily could have gotten bag limit, which is 8 per day. With a little patience, I think I easily could have gotten that. So look for a squirrel hunting video come about January. But Lord of mercy, it was cold this morning though. So really interesting conditions, perfectly clear. Saw a really nice woodpecker. And I'm not sure what the species was, but there were these little almost finch type birds that were going after the corn. The ground was practically alive at a couple points. So like I said, interesting morning. Definitely not the result I was hoping for, but the day's not over. And based on the trail cam intel, in the mornings they've been coming sometimes at sunrise, sometimes before, sometimes after. It's been a little variability, but it seems like about 5:30, which is a good bit before sunset still, I think. I'd have to look at the math, but seems like around that time, that 4:30 to 5:30 window, they've been coming pretty consistently the last few days. So I'm gonna try to give that a shot, see what I can come up with. I know this video has been a lot of me just talking, but this has been interesting. It's always a learning experience. I know you've probably seen that on some of the other videos here on the channel, but one of the things that I always try to do anytime I'm out hunting, anytime I'm out in the woods, is always look for the things to learn. Always look for the things to try to pick up and use, even if it's not successful as far as getting anything. It's a successful hunt if you get out and enjoy yourself. It's really successful if you get out and learn something. So anyhow, we'll see what the evening brings, but I'm gonna go down and make some breakfast and try to thaw out a bit. Already been thawing out in the truck just for the last little bit. Afraid I was about to get frostbite on the way my fingers was feeling. So anyhow, we'll see what happens in the evening. Well, obviously this isn't the stand or the woods or anything, but was out this evening. I actually didn't even dare try to get the phone out to video anything from the stand, even though it was daylight, because the deer were around, but I couldn't get a clear shot at any of them. There was a couple of bucks that actually sensed me and alerted, but didn't run off on alert. So they were blowing and all that, but I couldn't, they were way out of range for what I've got the gun sighted for. And then in the last 45 minutes of shooting light, 2 does came up. One stayed just over the property line. The stand is kind of close to the property line. One stayed just over the property line and a little out of range of the gun. And then the other one was actually in range, but it was a yearling fawn. And one of the things that I'm trying to do with our property is kind of manage the wildlife well. Although, again, I'll admit my heart rate was through the roof and I wanted it. I definitely wanted it. But those younger ones in particular, doing what I can to let them walk, because that's the next generation. And two, from a practical standpoint, if you're not going to get that much meat out of it, especially for a doe, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to take it out unless you're, starving to death, something like that. But that's not really our situation here. So unfortunately, that means 0 for the day, but a lot of good experience. I definitely see how the bucks are moving and running up on the ridge. So that's going to be some really good intel just from observing them. So I think I'm going to have some new game plans over the next month or so here while we've got the remaining now buck-only rifle season. But thanks for tagging along, even though there wasn't much, I know, really exciting. It's been a lot of me talking and not much else, but really good experience all the way around, like I said earlier in the video. And again, thanks for tagging along. We'll have more come in the next few weeks, more adventures across the board, so definitely stay tuned for that.